fourth age rank, as everyone knows, is kind of meaningless at this point. There were so many cheats going on. The age lasted too long. Before I got here, it was mostly meaningless. Cheating was rampant, boosting was rampant, blah 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 blah. Nobody should be ever, in my opinion, nobody should ever equip a fourth age badge and feel good about themselves. It's just, there's no good way. There's no good way to flex your fourth age rank. Riley Reed, KI Ratbeard, will those new PvP gear have similar stats to the commander gear? They will have no stats. Zip, zilch, none, nada, no stats. Cosmetic. What type of currency is required to purchase them? Arena tickets. Is hard mode spring or later? Yes. Fourth age tickets are going away. Fifth age tickets are here. Darkmoor spells be updated this go around or just up to rank 6? Just wondering. Starting smaller and working up. Got the sauces. Will they make Surge private or sergeant now? TBD. Lucas says, are you sticking with penalizing both players if there's a draw? Yes. That's what we're starting with. Because we don't want anything to incentivize a draw. What are the incentives to get non-PvP players to participate in the PvP system? It's a good question, and it's worth thinking about. There are non-PvP players who just haven't done it yet. And then there are non-PvP players who are actively resistant to PvP and have basically said, we're never going to do it, right? And so those people, okay, if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. But in terms of everyone else, I mean, I think the wand is pretty cool. That casting animation is awesome. So that's one example. You'll have access to perhaps purchasing or crafting things via engaging in PvP instead. So if you think about certain kinds of gameplay requiring you to grind in the gameplay, if you would prefer to grind in PvP instead of grinding in the game, then that's acceptable. I could go over here and I could farm this person for blah 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 blah, or I could come over here and I could play PvP, and with basically the same amount of time investment, I might be able to get it that way. Because I haven't played in years. Did they ever nerf jading in PvP? It's a coming. I saw yesterday a piece of the league's stuff that I've been waiting on for a very long time, and that is the ability to set custom rule sets for leagues. I have access to lots of controls, including, for example, disable crits, right? So we've been saying for a while, our low-level league will disable crits. It won't happen. It can disable shadow pips in the intermediate league. So for people who like playing at 90, because you don't have shadow pips, then we actually may allow you to play at 100 and just physically disable the shadow pips in that. So our intermediate league, someone was complaining yesterday. They said, well, I've been sitting in queue for 7 hours and I don't have a match yet. And they were like level 16. Like, if nobody else is playing level 16, that's why you're sitting there. So one of the things that leagues will do is it will allow us to focus players into narrower level bands for play at those particular leagues. So that's one of the things I'm looking forward to. It should help the queues out a lot. The question Tom asked was about jading in PvP. We have a lot of stuff coming up for dealing with jading installing in PvP. Lots of things. Ratbeard, do you think making ranked PvP queue match new players by how many matches they've played? This way new players are matched with new players and not people accustomed to PvP. Yes. In fact, the number of matches that you have played is in fact a matchmaking criteria, but it is much farther down the list of things than Elo, for example. That's where we would start. If two players come into the game and all things are equal, other than the number of matches that they have played, the queue will sort the more experienced player to the top. Lucas says, do both players lose the same amount of points in a draw? A draw is a loss. Oh, yes. A draw is a loss. The hood. Will the queue cooldown be a strike system? Yes. Tom says, I'd rather force a tie than lose for sure. You're not going to... The only thing you will get out of forcing a tie is an infraction. Enjoy your queue cooldown. Do you have a system in place for the wizards that cheated or doored before 5th age starts? Will that come later? TBD, although I can say that we had a ticket in to fix the dooring exploit for a long time. Like, I mean, certainly since I joined the team again, we've had a ticket to fix the dooring, but it's never really been a huge priority. That ticket was there for a long time, but each time that we came up, and the programmer said, what should we be focusing on? Can we maybe push this ticket for fixing the dooring exploit? My answer was always the same. It was, you can push it, but we're not launching 5th age until you fix it. When can we expect the PvP bad juju cost to be changed? I would rather just remove it entirely. Like, that spell predates me by years. Will minions have a buff against death trains? Not yet, but eventually, probably yes. Tom always says, I still think ice is lacking in damage. You're correct. They are the lowest. They are the lowest DPP school. They are lacking in damage. So Somebody asked me what I was going to do, what I was doing in the spring update, and my answer was probably breaking the meta again. We'll see. Privateer says, "Are you working on the small pirate update in the works?" Not yet. Is Overlord going to be the only new rank, or will there be others? I don't know that. I don't know that anyone has confirmed that Overlord is a rank. Will KI ever host a tournament? Dakota Earthworm asks a question that has been asked many times, so I'll answer today. I recall you mentioning to me that spellements will be obtainable from questing. How will this affect people that are already max? Will we get a catch-up bundle? No, you will not, for already completed quests. So the answer to that is no. You will not get a catch-up bundle. You will have other ways to get your spellements. They will not be paid. I mean, we may have paid ways, but when we're talking about spellements in general, like players will always have the option to pay, but we're not making them pay to win, right? So just to be clear about that, I don't want players to see them available for in the crown store and go, oh my God, they're pay to win. No, that's not the case. It's just you can invest your time, and we have a workaround for that. Our lore spells being spellamented this patch are only the regular hits. We have created spellaments for, I think, all the lore spells except Lore Master. And those spellaments will be going into the packs instead of the spell drops, right? So we're just at this point we've transitioned them all over. Now, what the sources are in game of lore spells, I think is still TBD. Can you add a pink flying zebra mount, please? I will pass that on. Gume this morning, and I watched Fairy Queens this morning. They both had feedback to the KI Live yesterday. Let me start with Gume. He was talking about casting spells from outside of combat into combat. That's interesting, isn't it? For players to be able to assist other players in combat, which is sort of something that Beast Moon Mayhem already does, is an interesting mechanic. How might we leverage that in the future? Curious. And that's I saw some other feedback about the PvP gear. I don't think Fairy Queens like the PvP gear, but I would like to know why. Right? I can't go back to the artist and just say they don't like the PvP gear. So if you have things to say, like it's too clunky or it's too aggressive, I play a female character and I want something that doesn't look, make me look too aggressive. Well, let us know. Give us something that can work with. I think Fairy Queen's comment was gross. I can't. Although I did pass that feedback along, I can't go back to the art lead and just say they said it was gross. That doesn't help me much. Will we see TCs of spellament versions of spells? I think so, Sean. I think so. I would like to have among the things that you can spend your arena tickets on. I would like that to be one of your options. Dakota says, I'm most interested in new PvP gear stat-wise to see what approach is taken towards stat balancing. Hopefully good enough to the point people don't use strictly the best PvE gear. That's part of our gear audit, which is a beast, let me tell you. We've had a lot of designers, including Artie, myself, Stormbringer, Cam, spending a lot of time on our gear audit. It won't be perfect out of the gate. It won't be complete out of the gate. We don't have any plans to rebuild 30,000 plus pieces of gear. That's not what the gear audit is going to do. What we're trying to do is to find ways to give players interesting alternatives to gear that make you actually care about the gear that you're getting and nudge you off of some of those traditional points. Your 30 gear, your 60 gear, your Darkmoor gear, maybe your Catacombs gear. You should have other options. Now, it's always going to be the case, especially for PvP players, that somebody's going to say, what's the best build for depth? Hear it all the time. Hey man, hey Sauce, what's your best balance build look like? And so there's going to be copycatting for sure. People are going to follow the leader in terms of gear. But we would like for players to have more choices. Like, oh, let me try something a little bit different. Ratbeard, this might be too much to ask right now, but is there a chance we will get PvP only resist hats? Yes. All right, that's it for today. I'm gonna go out and see who plagiarized my content today. That's always entertaining.